Welcome to another Uplifting Global Talent podcast episode that brings you insights from business and global HR leaders. I'm Serap Zal, founder of Uplift, and Uplift is a global executive search company. And today I'm thrilled to have Mirna Arif, who's the General Manager of Microsoft Egypt. Mirna, it's absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Serap. I'm super excited and thank you so much for having me.
Mirna brings more than 20 years of experience with multinational organizations, public sector entities across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And she's the first woman to hold the role of general manager of Microsoft Egypt, leading the nation's digital transformation. And Mirna, can you tell us a little bit about your inspiring journey and to become the general manager of Microsoft Egypt, and also what inspired you to pursue this career in technology and business leadership?
Sure. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm truly honored to be on the podcast with you. So thank you so much for having me. And when I speak about my career, it's more of a roller coaster journey, really. The way I look at it, I had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of inflection points and a lot of changes, which made it really fulfilling. So I started my career back in 2002, and now I sound really old. I don't know where did the time go. But yeah, I started in oil and gas. So I started my career with Schlumberger. Straight out of university. I did so many roles. I think the first shift that I did, although I studied computer science by background, was to move into commercial. So I started as an account manager. I was in the digital company of Schlumberger. And I progressed as I moved along to became the sales manager, was then running the region. I spent the first 9 years of my career in my home country, Egypt. So I was doing the job based out of Cairo. And then I took the first international assignment back in 2011 with Schlumberger still. I moved to the UK and I was managing UK and Ireland for their digital company. Then I took on my global role. I became the global marketing director for the software company of Schlumberger and then for another segment of Schlumberger. So I spent the first 12 years of my career in Schlumberger, in oil and gas, in that digital space of oil and gas. And then took my biggest leap of faith at the end of 2014 when I decided to leave my corporate career, leave London, go back home, and I joined the government, which everybody thought it's like, you must be crazy. What are you doing? You have a fantastic corporate career. What are you thinking? But I joined as deputy minister at the Ministry of Petroleum. I was looking after investment and international cooperation, and it was really stemming out of my passion to make a difference, to help my country, to do something that is tangible and impactful, and has been a fantastic learning experience. I did that for a year. Then moved back to my corporate career. And I think the thrill of pushing myself out of my comfort zone kicked in. And I joined Emerson, which is an industrial company. So another facet to my experience, which was more into process management and industrial and manufacturing. So I was the regional manager for Gulf region, and I was based out of Qatar at the time. I did that for a couple of years. Then I moved to GE. Oil and gas, was the digital transformation director for North Africa and Turkey, actually, which one of my lovely countries that I love to visit. And then Microsoft came along at the beginning of 2019. I joined the Microsoft, moved from Egypt to Dubai to look after their Surface and Devices business for Middle East and Africa. And then a year down the road, I moved back to Egypt in March 2020 and became the general manager of Microsoft in Egypt, which was again another major shift, something that I look at until today and consider as one of the most interesting roles I've done, because it ticks a lot of boxes. I get to drive impact not only for the company I work for, but really for my country as well.
Yes, yeah,
So
that
that's
is
my
very rewarding. Yeah, no, that's great journey, and you work in different locations, different cultures, as well as different industries, and also quite male-dominated industries as well. We'll come to that
I
point.
know I don't pick them by choice, but yes.
Yes, and also government experience is definitely something different to add into your portfolio and managing the dynamics, understanding the dynamics of that. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, definitely is truly inspiring career journey you have, Mirna. Thanks a lot for that. Thanks for
Thank
sharing.
you.
And we will jump into this leadership topics. But before that, we always in this podcast episodes we always ask a few personal questions to our guest speakers, understand a little bit about them, their personal choices. So maybe a few questions that we can have like warm up question to
Go for
start
it.
with.
Ask
Okay,
away.
great. Yes, and of course, I mean, beyond your impressive career achievements, can you tell us like what are three things that bring joy out of work?
Sure. So first of all, I'm a single mom of two beautiful kids. Well, I don't think I can call them kids anymore. I have an 18-year-old daughter and a almost 16-year-old son, both going on 30 or 40 or I don't know what age at this point. So
Yeah.
I think the
Wow.
biggest joy out of work, and I think it's even in work because they are my true motivation. And then
Yeah.
another thing is I also enjoy social events. So I have a tight group of friends that I enjoy going out with, where we spend quality time together, and it's a mix of people. We are now within
Yeah.
Egypt, majority of us. So this is the thing. And then the third thing I love is to travel. I love
Mhm.
meeting new people and experiencing new cultures and just learning the different lifestyles, different foods.
I mean, I think it gives you really like a different feeling and a pleasure to see something new and experience something new outside of your comfort zone and social
Absolutely.
circle. I think it's really valuable. Okay, and also we always ask about the book, like which book outside of your field has significantly impact your perspective.
I wouldn't pick a particular book, but I think because my career and my line of work is very tech intense. It's very serious. It's very intense. You read a lot
Yeah.
AI and cloud and so on. And even before that, the oil and gas. It always has been. The tech intensity has been always there. So whenever I read about something, I love reading sci-fi books and fiction because it's kind of a
Hmm.
way for me to detach a little bit from the
Yes.
marathon of life and the non-stop experiences and intensity that we have in our lives. And it's a moment where I kind of retract into a different story, a different bubble that I can really call it my pause moments, and I just
Yeah.
detach myself from the real world and into a fictional world for a while.
Yeah. So you said you love traveling, and if you could travel to any place in the world right now for a spontaneous adventure, where would you go, and why that place?
In all honesty, and I know this will sound a little bit cliche, but I love Egypt and I've traveled the world. Literally, I mean, I've been
Hmm.
everywhere. And every time I go and I visit a different country, and again, I love experiencing new countries, new cities, new places, but every time I feel that nothing beats Egypt because you have it all. We have the in everything. I
Yes.
mean, you want a summer and the beaches, and so we have the North Coast in the winter. We have the Red Sea. You want the culture. We have
Yeah.
Luxor.
History
We
is
have
so rich
Aswan,
as
the
well.
history. You have
Yeah.
everything. You want nightlife and the buzz. You get it. You want a quiet place or take a cruise on the night. There is everything. We have everything.
Everything.
So to
Yeah.
me, I would, and I think this was very clear from my career. I go to different places, but I always come back home.
Yeah. Home is different for sure. So let's come to a little bit leadership topics then. So of course every leader brings some unique sets of skills and approach to organization. How would you describe your leadership style? Like how is Mirna's style and how also has it evolved by years? I mean, with all this experience.
Absolutely. I think this is a super important topic, and I'd like to split it into two parts. First of all, I think the skill sets because
Mhm.
we've always been talking about leadership skills and what's important to a successful leader. And there always been obviously meeting the numbers, achieving the KPIs, getting things done, achieving the goals, setting the strategy. I mean, all of these remain super important, clarity, etc., etc. But I think in the last few years, a super important leadership trait became also very, very critical, and that's empathy. And I think empathetic leadership is something that we should be paying more attention to, because although some people would think of empathy and vulnerability as a sign of weakness, for me, I consider it a very important sign of strength and a very critical sign of successful leaders nowadays. And again, I don't want to sound biased again, but this is what women bring to the table. We're empathetic being by nature. I think the fact that you can push yourself to look at different people's perspective, whether they are your employees, your co-workers, your colleague, your superiors, is very important. It brings a lot, because again, you spend 80-70% of your time at work. You spend a lot of time with these people. We all work
Yeah.
under a lot of stress and there is a lot of demand. So having this empathy and understanding of people's background, perspective, where they're coming from, helps build stronger team and helps drives much stronger results. So I think empathy and vulnerability are becoming super important traits. The second facet of leadership and my personal leadership style is really what I call, I like to be a leader from within. It's as a leader, and again, we do it obviously a lot as well. You have to lead at the front. So you take the front line, you set the path, you set the direction, the strategy, the objectives. You do that, but you don't have to remain at the front. I don't want people to just follow me. I want to be with the people. I lead from within. So with my team and with my leadership team, I always tell them we're sitting around one table. We just happen to be wearing different hats. My hat happens to be the GM of the country. You're wearing equally important hats. And when all of us come together and make this work from within, this is how we all achieve success. And sometimes I even lead from behind, because there are many times where you need to take a step back to make sure that your people are empowered enough that you can push them forward so that they can also learn and grow. Give them the tools.
Yeah.
They don't have to be just pulling everyone all the time. So I think it's a mix of these three positions: leading from the front, leading from within, and sometimes leading from the back. But majority of my leadership I spend, or my leadership time I spend leading from within.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's very important. And also, when the team feels that their success is your success and your success is their success, we are one team together, then it becomes much more trustable also relationship, right, between all the team members. Leadership's role is more like a facilitator as well. Like everyone achieves their potential, and you facilitate all those scenarios actually in the organization. But of course, sometimes we also face challenges and obstacles. And I think maybe we learn a lot from those. I mean, successes, of course, we learn as well. But I think we learn more from the failures. So what are or what were the biggest challenges that you face in your career? And also as a woman leader, and how do you overcome these challenges?
I think there were so many, to be honest,
So many,
and that's
right?
how you learn and how you grow. And again, I started my career at a young age. I started taking managerial and leadership role at a young age, and it's not easy. It's not easy being a woman and working in male-dominated industries. It's not easy. And again, without the specific challenges, but I learned throughout my career to turn those challenges into opportunities, into a way to push me forward. And I think the biggest challenge that I faced, and I believe many women face as well, is skepticism. They always give you this look. It's like, can you do it? Do you have what it takes? But hey, you just gave birth to your second child. I mean, how are you going to take that role? And I remember really well when I was taking a very big leadership role. My manager at the time, and I just had my second child, came back from maternity, and it was just 3 months of maternity leave. And he was telling me, you know what, there is this regional sales director role that is becoming available, and I think you would have been fantastic for the role. And I'm like, what do you mean would have been? I'm back, I'm here. He's like, he said, yeah, but you just got your second child, your daughter is not even 3 yet, and I mean, I'm not sure if you can
Yeah.
do it. And I'm like, okay, so my gender aside, my motherhood aside, my kids aside, and my personal life aside, do you think, do I have the skill set that will enable me to deliver on this role? Yes or no? He said, of course, you're the best we have. And I'm like, so what are we talking about? Give me the job, tell me what do
Yeah.
you need, and then it's up to me to make it work. And the thing
Mm.
is, you always find yourself having to work twice as hard, having to push yourself way more to just prove that you can do it. And by the way, they took the bet on me and I took the role. And then I told them, but I'm gonna be in the office at 7 a.m. because I don't sleep anyway. My kids are awake. And I'll need to leave by 5 because I need to be there. But then they sleep at 9 and I'll pick up after that. And it worked. And we delivered, we over delivered. But I think this skepticism is always there. And at the beginning, it used to really get at me. And it's like, maybe they're right. Maybe I cannot do it. Maybe I will not be able to juggle. Maybe I will not be able to deliver. Maybe I don't have the skills. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Even when I took this role 4 years ago, I wasn't from the industry. I've spent my entire career in oil and gas. I came and add to the challenge of being from outside of the industry, woman, external to the company, all of that. It was COVID. I started my job when it was COVID, and I'm like, I love challenges, but come on, give me a break. So when we started, it was the offices were closed. I didn't meet my team. I didn't know anyone. There were so many things I didn't know, and there was a lot of skepticism. Can she do it? Does she have what it takes? Does she understand our industry? Does she know the people? There is a lot of work with the government, the entities, the different industries. But I came across and I told them, you know what? No, I don't know everything. There is a lot of things I need to learn. And together and from you, I'm going to learn a lot because you've been here longer than me, and
Yeah.
together we'll be able to deliver. And it's been a fantastic journey since. So now whenever anybody comes and tells me I don't think you can do it, I'm like, well, watch me, I'll do it.
Exactly. Self-confidence is really key, I think, and also believing in yourself that you can do it, right? So I think that's the first step. First, you should believe in yourself. Others will believe in you too after
Absolutely.
that, right? So
Absolutely.
giving that confidence, and I love your energy as well, Mirna. I always said when we first time meet each other, I think it's also really impact others' sides too, and especially as we do executive search and headhunting as well. And during the interview process, we observe that some of the women executives, especially, they have really like high confidence, high energy, and also they have that can-do attitude. I think that they really help to succeed in their roles, like yours. And you mentioned about that, others should believe in you, should support. I think that getting support from the organization, I think, is really key. And I'm
Super.
sure during your career journey, you had a lot of mentors or coaches as well. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. I mean, did you have that type of mentors, and how did they influence your career journey and leadership style?
Absolutely. I mean, and again, you can't do it without mentors and supporters and people who really believe in you. And I have to say, I've been very lucky throughout my career and in all the companies I worked at, that I really found people who took interest in my own personal and career development, who really supported and believed in me, who vouched for me. A lot of them, majority of them, were male colleagues or male managers and leaders, because they saw the passion, but they also saw the eagerness to learn. And I think this is super important. When you don't come across as, I know it all, I know everything, I can do everything, then there is doubt whether it's a male or a female. I think when you come across with an eagerness to learn, which is super important, and a growth mindset that I want to continue to learn, there is so much more because the world around us keeps changing. people start to really take interest in you. And I've been super lucky having those mentors, both for my personal life, as I was juggling at an early stage with my young kids and my career and my travels, but also in my professional life, giving me the guidance, the support, taking those bets actually, and giving me those leadership role, pushing the boundaries, giving me the exposure. And I think every leader, again, whether male or female, should seek those mentors, and they
Yeah.
don't always have to be from within the company. I mean, today there've been a
Mhm.
consistent mentor in my career. It's true, we met at my very first company, but until today, every single step and all my career moves, I pick up the phone and I'm like, yep, I'm doing another one of those. So let me tell you and give me your guidance and advice here. You have to have this relationship and the trust, but it's also have to be a two-way. You need to know what you require from your mentor, what support do you need, what are your areas of improvement, and that's where they really come, and can guide you and help you.
Yeah, yeah. Self-awareness is the key, definitely. And also, I like what you said, like you can have internal coaches or mentors, external, having
Absolutely.
different views and opinions, I think really help you to
Absolutely.
grow as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you mentioned about like the busy work life, but also like family life, children, etc. So how do you manage this work-life balance? I know it's a challenge for most of people now. I don't like to call anymore like balance because it's already integrated to each other, right? So how do you maintain this balance in your life?
I think everyone, and I get asked this question a lot, right? It's like, how do you do it? How do you juggle all of this?
Yeah.
I think, to your point, I don't think it's the balance anymore. I mean, if we really expect that it's going to be a balanced scale where you have your work and your life and it's always balanced at all time, then it's a myth. It
No.
doesn't exist.
Right.
What I say, it's all about managing the imbalance. It's actually acknowledging that it's not going to be balanced. There will be
Mm.
times where the work or the career or the professional life is weighing more, and there will be time where the family is weighing more, and it really depends on your stage and your pace and what's happening in your career and your personal life and what your preference is. So it's all about finding your own balance, and that's mine is different than yours and different than anyone else. And I know that with all the pressures we have from society, from work, from all the from social media, everybody expect a perfect everything. It's not. It will never be. And I
Yeah.
think you have to accept that, and you have to move at your own pace and deliver your own journey and enjoy your own journey with its ups and with its downs and with its challenges. And there are moments where I do feel guilty. I did feel a lot of guilt towards my kids when I had to travel and miss the birthday sometimes. And again, at the beginning of the career, it's much more difficult because you're not there yet. You still want to prove yourself. It's real. All these challenges are real. All those feelings are real. And I think we need to acknowledge them, accept them, talk about them, and support each other, because they're not going to go anywhere, and overcome them and acknowledge that maybe I had my kids at a young age, but it's okay for other people not to. And maybe you want to start your career, accelerate your career, then take a break and have your kids. People are different, and every path is the right path. There is no right path and wrong path. It's your path, your balance, your journey, and it's all about acknowledging it will be imbalanced and managing it to your own personal pace and satisfaction.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And also, it's important to mention like what are your priorities at the moment and with the others as well. Because what I noticed that when I share more with my family, like what I'm working on, what is coming, maybe preparing them as well. Maybe I will not
Respect.
be available like I was in the next weeks because this is coming. So then when we manage their expectation, they don't really push you a lot.
I have to tell you,
Mm,
because I
yes.
remember, and it was more than 10 years ago. My son was 5 maybe at the time, and we were living in London,
Mhm.
and I had a global role, so I was traveling like crazy, right? And I was like, I went to him and I'm like, okay, so tomorrow mommy has to travel. I will not be there for, we had something at school, but then I'm only gone for a couple of days and I'll be back. We'll do this in the weekend. So he looked at me and said, okay, but are you taking the iPad? Like, seriously? So he didn't even care I was traveling.
Yes,
As
it
long as
doesn't.
you're leaving the iPad here and I can still play my games and watch my cartoons, I'm fine.
Exactly. Everyone is trying to create their comfort, right? Yeah, that's funny. And of course, it's life, right? There are always up and downs, different priorities, as you mentioned. Sometimes family is having more, sometimes work is having more. But yeah, it's all about like managing this all priorities at the
Exactly.
same time. That's the art part, I guess, of women leaders. Maybe I also would like to ask you a little bit about the community and society. Like, how do you see the roles of business leaders contributing to the community? And especially as you mentioned, like you're contributing to your country as well. So, what initiatives or projects are you the most passionate about outside of maybe your professional work at the moment?
Absolutely. And I think this has been a major driver for me when I was taking all these leaps and leaps of faith and changes, was really trying to find my purpose. I was always thinking that career is amazing, but I just don't want a 9 to 5 job. There must be more to it. What am I actually doing? How am I supporting others? What is the impact that I'm really helping, whether it's my community, my society, and hopefully my entire country eventually. And what I'm really passionate about is people. And that's what I realized at a very young age. And I see a lot in people beyond what they see sometimes in themselves. I love to push especially young people. So something I'm really passionate about is education and learning and training. So I outside of Microsoft, I sit on a few boards. I mean, aside from the business boards I sit on, but the voluntary work I do. So I sit on a couple of education board of trustees. So one for a group of universities, but another one as well for the vocational training, because I believe that that's super,
Mhm.
super important.
Yeah.
So just sending the expertise and supporting and so on. And another thing is on the innovation side, because I think with, and again, where I sit today, leading one of the biggest companies in technology, technology is taking center stage and innovation is accelerating at an unprecedented pace. So I see innovation as core to any country's progress. So a way for me to support my country is really to support the startup ecosystem. And that's a strong passion of mine. I
Mhm.
love speaking to those entrepreneurs and supporting them. Again, I do a few mentorships and so on with those young entrepreneurs, either whether they already have their companies or about to start their companies, just to give them the business insight. How should they think about their companies? How they should think about the future? How they should scale and grow? And this will not only help them as people, but it will also eventually help the country, because they are the engines of change and
Yeah.
economic growth in our country. So these are things I'm very, very passionate about. I also
No,
do a
that's
little bit
great.
of healthcare, and I sit on a board of trustees for a children hospital as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and I mean, you are doing a lot, of course, and
I'm
it's
juggling so
really
much.
great. It's really great to see that. I'm sure you are inspiring them as well. So maybe the last question, Mirna, like about the young woman, as you mentioned, like you like to help young people, but also specifically, I would like to ask about young women. Like, what advice would you give them to be inspired leaders in business and technology? So how can they build their confidence? So, like a few tips maybe that you can share with us.
Absolutely. And again, this is definitely one of my my biggest mission. I think I want to tell all these young girls and young female women everywhere that, you know what, you can do it. It's not going to be easy, but it's very doable. Don't let anyone deter you from your dreams, and make sure that you dream and dream big. And even if you see that this dream is far fetched and very hard, and work for it. And the path is never going to be a straight line. It's going to be a roller coaster journey. It's going to be with a lot of ups and downs. It's going to be with a lot of detours. And sometimes you have to even turn back and take a couple of steps back so that you can still maybe take a leap forward. And don't ever let this stop you. Don't let skepticism stop you. On the contrary, make sure that it is a push. If anybody thinks you cannot do it, speak to others who have done, and they will tell you and show you and guide you. And I think more importantly, continue to learn. Don't, for all those who are still at universities or at schools, the journey doesn't end when you graduate. The journey only starts when you do, because the real learning happens in the real world. And every single day, you're going to learn from people around you. You're going to learn from the places you go to, from the challenges you face, from the failures. And don't be afraid to fail, but fail fast, and stand up again and keep moving forward. And most importantly, move at your own pace. Forget the society's checklist. It's not about graduating, getting married, having kids, getting a job, getting a promotion, doing my master's. It's not that. You can do all of that, and you can do it in a different order and do it at your own pace. And I think this is what women need to realize, that there is no one right checklist versus the other. There is your own checklist and what you want to achieve.
Yeah, yeah, that's 100%, and I totally agree with everything. And that was very uplifting comment, Mirna, and the inspiration for women. I know there are lots of challenges, but we can definitely do it, and also we can help each other too. I also, during my career, I always got great support from a few women leaders who I remember I still contact with, and it is really nice to also learn from each other, get support from each other. So I absolutely love to have this conversation with you today, like we support each other.
Absolutely. We
That
remind
was a
each
great.
other that it's doable.
Yes, exactly. That's an example. But thanks a lot for joining us today. I mean, time flies so fast.
I
We are
know.
almost at the end. Yeah, but it was a really pleasure for us to have you on our show today.
Thank you so much, Sarab. Thank you. I truly enjoyed it, and thank you for having me. It's been the highlight of my day, genuinely. And we definitely should do more of these get-togethers and women supporting women, because we should.
Yeah. Exactly. Thanks to our listeners as well for joining us today, Uplifting Global Talent podcast. And we hope today's podcast also has been inspiring, like myself and Mirna's talk. And until next time, keep uplifting global talent wherever you go, and take care of yourself. Bye bye.